Hello. In today's video we're going to be painting up this Kroot flesh shaper from the Kroot hunting pack box that came out recently. I'm quite excited for this model, it's a very cool model, and this is also me testing out my colour scheme for my Kroot before I paint all the other ones. Now you may be wondering why it's not primed black like most of the models you see at the beginning of these videos. Well, I primed it with AK wine red, and I intend on zenitholing a white over it and then sort of hitting it with some green contrasts. I'm not sure which ones yet, but I'm hoping this will give it a warm flesh look, a green warm flesh. So yeah, let's get into it. So I've just finished zenitholing the little guy. I might have overdone it a tad with the white and got a bit too much, but I think it should work fine. I'm now going to probably either speed paint or just glaze on greens onto his body, and all the other parts of him will have their own colour. And then I think I should highlight over it as well. I don't think just a zenithal and a green speed paint should be good enough. But you never know. Let's try it out.
So for his body, I tested out a couple of contrast and speed paints, and I came to the conclusion that Army Painter speed paint Shamrock Green was the best one. A lot of the other ones were dull or didn't cover well. They might have not covered well just because they're old and I've never used them, but I don't blame the paints are bad. I then did my usual leather colours and reds on him and stuff like that, and for his beak, I was a bit torn for a while. Do I want a brown beak, a black beak? But I decided just to use my bone colours that I usually use for painting stuff like skulls on my vases and bones and stuff like that. And I think they came out quite well. I used the thing Tyrannid people do, where they just do the little lines. I tried to use that on his beak to make it look more textured and stuff, and I think that looks quite good. I also painted his cardigan thingy, I don't know what it is, with my bone colours. However, I used more of the grey and less of the sort of tanny white colour. And it's got the same colour as the beak, but you don't look at them and think they're the same just because it's darker. I like that. I then threw on some non-metallic golds and some non-metallic metal for his knives. I think I did the gold I'm happy with, but the knives and stuff I'm not over the moon about. But anyway, on to basing.
So here's the finished product, very happy with it. The green came out a little brighter than I was expecting, but I'm not too mad about it. And unlike most of my usual videos, I've decided to base this one in the same video as I paint it. Most of my models will remain unbased in the video. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so I've ripped him off of his base now, and for basing him I intend on using some slate. However, one problem is the slate I have is a tad too big for his base. So I'm going to do the only reasonable thing and hit the slate with a hammer until it gets into small chunks that definitely won't be sharp and definitely won't stab my fingers. Let's get into it. I don't really have any like milliput or anything, and I'm quite delayed on this video and I want it to come out tomorrow, so it's actually in the week I said it would be out. So I can't go and buy any milliput obviously. But what I do have is this block of clay. This is dust stone. Great value, only £4. Hopefully this will work. So I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, so I've taken off a chunk that should more than fill this base. I don't know how old this clay is, probably ancient, but I'm hoping it will be able to sort of do a good job. As a sort of milliput substitute, I think I've got too much, haven't I? It doesn't stick to the base very well, so I'm going to probably use some super glue to stick it down. And it's all over my hands. This is not going well. Do I want to glue down the rock? Okay, I want it to sort of be like the sandy ground, so I should probably glue the rock underneath it. And maybe giving it a little time to dry won't hurt. The The rock is actually quite uneven, so I'm going to stick down this first. I'm going to use glue just to help it attach to the base. And then I'm going to sort of mould the rock into it. Oh, there's going to be super glue and clay all over me. I think for bases in the future I should definitely use Milliput or something else. Unless this clay is quite good, because it was only £4 and I think that's quite cheap for a big block. Is clay the way to go with basing? It's already dried all over my fingers. Okay, and then I'm going to take the rock and I'm hoping I can just smush it in. And hopefully it will stay. Now you may be saying that just looks like a rock in a lump of clay on a base, but you just wait. How do we make rock dirt ground texture? With a second rock. I'm just going to sort of hit this into it repeatedly. And that will hopefully give us... Oh yes, look at that. Some lovely ground texture. This is definitely a good way to do basing if you're on a budget. And I don't know what to do with this second rock. I don't have any other bases I could use it on, I don't think. No, I think I'm just going to roll this up into a ball, let it dry. Oops, dropped the knife. And then when it dries, maybe crack it up and have some more small rocks. So I'll see you guys later when my cool new base has dried. Where'd my knife go? Okay, so for the ground part of the base, where all the rocks are, I'm thinking of doing some dry brushing with browns and a couple of yellows to give it a sort of dirty, deserty ground sort of feel. I'm going for a sort of savannah base. And then for the rock, I'm thinking of just sort of like a cold slate sort of rock. And I'm going to go over all of it with pigment powders in a sec. So, I can't do it with that hand. Let's get into it.
So here you can see the finished result. I'm very happy with the guy. The base, I think the pigment powder needs to be turned down a little bit. It's a bit too much, but other than that, I'm quite happy with it. If you want to see me paint the rest of the Kroot box, subscribe I guess, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.